The Department of Emergency Management in Honolulu is holding a news conference on the status of Tropical Storm Flossie. We go live now to KITV4's Jill Kurumoto. She's there with the latest. Jill?
Thanks, Mahia. That's right. We are inside the Emergency Operating Center here at the Department of Emergency Management, and we are awaiting Kurt Caldwell's arrival here. He's going to be giving us an update on the latest as far as city operations and the city's shelters that have been put on standby, waiting in anticipation of Tropical Storm Flossie. And we're just waiting for him to make his way into the room here. But inside here at the Emergency Operating Center, we've had folks here since about 6 in the morning. First responders, the heads of the city departments, all meeting here. Right now they've been in another room, but these folks have been the hub of where all the communication is happening. And so we're still waiting to hear from the mayor, but we can tell you that they are hoping to get some more information on what's going to be happening in the next few hours as Flossie makes its way towards the islands. Thanks a lot, Mayor.
But here's the mayor right now, and so I guess he's going to give us an update. Let's go ahead and step in. Okay, Mr. Mayor?
Well, we're here to announce that we are going to be opening up emergency shelters at 3 this afternoon. 10 shelters around the island, 8 of them at district parks and 2 on private facilities. And it's just in preparation. We're not saying the storm is getting worse, but we do believe that people need to plan, and should there be localized flooding or wind damage, you want to make sure that people can elect on their own to go to one of these shelters. And I was going to briefly just read down the list of shelters. So Waianae District Park, Waihua District Park, Ewa Mahiko District Park, Kailua District Park, Kilauea District Park, Koko Head District Park, Waimanalo District Park, Wailua Church of Christ, that's a private one, BYU Hawaii, another private one, and then Kalakaua District Park. That's 10 in all, and they'll be open at 3 o'clock for people to come. Now, some may ask, we have a pet. We don't want to leave our pet behind, and people love their pets. So you can bring your pet with you, but they have to be in a cage, enclosed cage, or a carrying box of some sort, so that they can be protected when they're in the shelter. If they don't come with that, then they will have to remain outside of the shelter for now with their animal. But we want people to be able to bring their pets. Everyone who comes should make sure they're bringing supplies, food, and other commodities for up to 7 days, particularly if they need medical supplies. If you're diabetic or your animal needs some kind of medicine, please bring it with you up to 7 days. Obviously, we hope that will not be necessary, but again, being prepared, fully prepared, is very important.
Who's going to give the all clear?
We will. The City and County of Honolulu will give the all clear once it's deemed safe to return home. Hopefully, we're not going to have to worry. We're going to continue to watch Flossie. It continues to not be as strong as it once was, and hopefully that will reduce itself as it gets close to Oahu by this evening. But the bottom line is we are going to have wind and we are going to have rain, and it's hard to determine where flooding may occur and damage. So we think it's better to open up these 10 shelters as a precaution, and as you notice, they're around the entire island.
So again, this will happen. This is not a tentative, and pets will be allowed at
That's
these.
correct. This will happen at 3, and pets will be allowed as long as they come with a cage or a carrying box of some sort.
Mr. Mayor, some of the things that go into making this decision.
Well, one, we just want to make sure that it's serious enough that we need to address it. We believe that given the storm's capacity for rain and wind, it's better to be safe. And again, it's election of an individual. We're not mandating anyone move into a shelter, but should someone be concerned, we want to make sure they can elect to move into a shelter and be near one where they live. And so that's why we've opened up all the shelters around the island, although we anticipated initially that there'd be stronger winds on the windward side. Be safe and make shelters available on the entire island.
So what else could you say as far as what you could recommend to residents as far as the storm as it approaches?
Well, one thing we want to really emphasize is by this evening, please shelter in place. Don't be driving around. Only essential people should be out on the roads by 6. That's when you start to feel the real effects of the storm. And if they're out after that, you really are endangering yourself and others. So you want to be at home or in a shelter at that point. Get your supplies up to 7 days. If you're going home, at the end of the day, make sure you built in time to go to the supermarket, buy your things, and be at home in place by 6.
Mayor, as it comes to the city and county workers, you had said that perhaps you might take steps to let them go free, some 10,000.
That's
What's
correct.
the decision on that?
So we're going to be meeting at 1 o'clock to assess the situation and making a decision at that time.
Okay.
So no decision on them yet?
No
1 o'clock.
decision. There's been discussion, but we're going to wait and see. We're following what's happening on the Big Island, of course, Maui, and then, of course, that'll indicate what's going to happen here on Oahu, and we'll make that decision by 1 o'clock, which should give everyone enough time to get home by 6.
And again, just to reiterate, private sector employers, that's at their discretion.
That's correct. And I've talked to a few large employers that they're making a decision case by case. Sometimes they're allowing it just by different operations around the island. And I think that's how it should be handled. You know, the state and the federal government is doing much the same. Everyone is concerned, private sector, public sector, and we are working together.
If the storm slows, though, are the times flexible, or are you just going to stick with those times?
I mean, if the storm was to
starts to
slow
slow.
over, we're going to stick with those times. Once announced, we're announcing it right here before all of you because you're our source to get this information out. Whether it slows or not, we're going to open at 3. We don't want to create any kind of confusion. We want people to know, have certainty in their mind that they can go to these shelters, get out of the rain, get out of the wind, bring their dogs, cats, and other animals as long as they're caged.
And you mentioned earlier you had notified certain homeless groups that you were prepared to put city buses into those areas to help transport individuals out?
That's correct. And we, in fact, went to the different homeless encampments around the island, particularly on beaches, earlier during the weekend to notify them of the approaching storm. And at the right time, we will have buses there to pick up people who want to come into one of these district parks and be safe.
And another note to the visitors out there, we were talking about the storm surge, potential increase. We might see a surf advisory, high surf advisory come up, and just reiterating to them what they need to do.
That's correct. Again, visitors need to check with their front desk, with their security, before they go out onto our streets and beaches. Right now, we don't see the surges that we're going to expect later. On the windward side, it's actually 1 to 2 feet. On the south shore, there's a bit of a surf bump that was around from yesterday. So they need to be really safe, and they need to talk to the lifeguards, and they need to listen to the lifeguards before they venture into the ocean.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor. And so there you heard it, the latest from Mayor Kirk Caldwell on what is going to be happening over the rest of the course of the day. So 3 o'clock, 10 shelters across Oahu are going to be opening up, some of them available for pets. But the mayor is recommending that folks get their things ready, be prepared for what could be some pretty strong winds and rain. Later on this evening, he's also recommending that people stay off the road tonight if possible, except for emergency vehicles. And, of course, visitors, be prepared, check with your hotels, check with other officials that you would know may be able to provide you with the most up-to-date information. And as far as city workers, what's going to happen with them, he said 1 o'clock there'll be another update. For now, back to you, Mahia.
All right, Jill Kuromoto reporting live from downtown. Thank you. And stay with KITV4 for continuing coverage of Flossie on air, online, and on your smartphone. We'll bring you live reports every half hour from the Big Island, Maui, and Oahu. We'll also bring you the latest tonight on KITV4 News at 5, 6, and 10. And don't forget to download our KITV4 Hurricane app. It tracks the storm and gives you the latest information, and it's free. Aloha.